No, I'm not into Nazis, you know. I'm not crazy about the Nazis. There it is. I said it.
Recording in progress.
Do you want to try to guess the plot of Look Who's Talking?
No, that's hard. All right, so it's John Travolta and Kirstie Alley.
No, I rescind the question. Um, let's talk about. Um, I told Yam Jigga
Yam Jigga.
about our conversation about your $100 whiskey purchase, which I
Yeah.
thought you had made yourself, which really
Oh yeah.
you were just an executive producer on that.
You that's a very accurate way of describing that story. So does Yam Jigga wait, did he get the accurate version of the events or the version of the events where I look like a total dweeb?
Um, that's a good question. I believe. No, I told him no, I because I told him about it in a message from just the last few days. So I think he got the accurate version.
So you had updated information. All right,
Yeah,
that's
I think he got the real story. And the reason I was telling him about it is I wanted his opinion because I had made some pretty bold statements about Pappy Van Winkle. I'm like, well, you don't, age statements don't mean that much when it comes to something that ages in virgin oak. I didn't say that specifically, but then he did. He explicitly said, he's like, yeah, don't, that's not worth the money just because
ah.
age statements don't mean as much in virgin oak whiskeys.
So you have confirmed our opinions with it like an expert. Yam Jigga is involved in the industry, is he not?
Yeah, he's involved in the industry. I don't think he would like self-identify as a whiskey expert, but like he knows about he knows about the production and aging of whiskey, and he's tasted a lot of whiskeys, and he kind of he agreed with me. He his without me kind of trying to get him on my side, he sort of echoed the things that I had said to you.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, that's fair. I think I got a new business idea for you.
All right, that'll be good.
I think we should get Yam Jigga's employer to sponsor It's Not About the Whiskey so that we can pay a producer to do all the difficult stuff for us.
That's a conversation between you and Yam Jigga guy.
All right, we'll get there. Just as long as we're planting the seeds.
I think that that would be a beautiful world to live in.
It would be. It would be. All we gotta do is get on the sticks, man. All we gotta do is get on the sticks, get a proof of concept.
We could tell them, yeah, like whatever they're like, we could review the shit that they sell.
Yeah, totally. That could be the segment. They could provide the whiskey for It's Not About the Whiskey. You know, we do 5 minutes of whiskey at the beginning or end of each segment. We're like, thank you to Yam Jigga's employer who
Hmm.
provided us with this wonderful Talisker 10.
Hmm.
It's a good idea, bro. That's
It
a
is a good idea. And we could be fair and even about whatever whiskey, if it's a bourbon, we'd be like, listen, we're not bourbon drinkers or whatever, but like we'll give it a fair shake or whatever.
We'll give it a fair shake. But we will just beware. If you fucking give us a bourbon, we're probably gonna talk some shit about it.
Yeah. And I think like I don't think that I have it in me to try to like extol the virtues of something that like, especially when it comes to whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, this this mixture is American, or
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's a conversation worth having. I wonder what kind of person. I wonder who Yam Jigga deals with as his superior and what access he has to the people who could make a decision like that.
Yeah, what is his gig? Does he is just kind of like the regional he sells to liquor stores, right?
Yeah, he sells to liquor stores. He now has a position where there are people who work under him who sell to liquor stores, but he still is out there visiting clients.
But he's like
So
a manager.
say again.
He's like a regional manager. He's like a
Yes, he's a Michael. What?
Michael Scott. Do you know The Office?
Nah, I never watched The Office.
Oh, you should watch The Office at some point.
I don't have to watch The Office. I watched Parks and Rec 12 times.
Yeah, that's fair. I should watch Parks and Rec is what should happen.
Have you never seen Parks and Rec?
I've never watched it all the way through. I've watched a few I've watched a few episodes. I've watched more Community.
Well, Parks and Rec es la mejor serie de todos los tiempos. But also Community is also la mejor serie de todos los tiempos.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, gun to my head, it's Parks and Rec.
I believe that you would have said that. I feel like Parks and Rec is your favorite television show of all time.
Well, across any genre, I'm not sure, but anything even remotely in that vein, yeah, that shit was magic.
So it's definitely your favorite comedy. Comedy.
Yeah, I mean, Community is right up there with it. They're both shows that I watched the whole thing through like many, many times.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, like you don't know what to put on. Like let's just keep watching. It gets late enough, we just put on one of those two shows and just watch the whole thing, and then when it's done, we go to the other one and we watch that whole thing. When that's done, we go back to Community.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Um,
For me, it was that for my college version of that was The West Wing. I watched The West Wing, all seven seasons, like four times, not four, probably like two or three times in college in my early 20s.
I could see that. I stopped counting how many times I viewed Peaky Blinders. Um,
I
Mostly because I'm not watching the whole thing anymore. The scenes I don't like, I skip them.
Oh, I see. You just go, you're not a purist anymore.
No, because there are characters and plot lines where I'm like, I don't want to watch this again, so
Yeah,
I just skip it.
you just skipped the good stuff.
Seasons 5 and 6, there's a lot of stuff that I don't care for. The villain in seasons 5 and 6 is really just an intolerable fuckhead. I mean,
Yeah.
he's meant to be, and the actor, I don't know his name, he plays the shit out of that role, but
Yeah.
I just hate looking at him. It's really unpleasant, and
Nazis are fun to watch.
no, I'm not into Nazis.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about the Nazis. There it is. I said it.
That's the title of the fucking podcast. I'm not crazy about the Nazis. I think, I think we'll get a shit ton of views that way.
I'm not crazy about the Nazis in parentheses. There, I said it.
That's excellent. That's good stuff.
The show is still good. Those plot lines are still really good, and a lot of the scene work is really good. A lot of this, not just the scene work of the actors. I mean, like the whole production
Yeah.
is very good. But I just can't watch Mosley fucking be a total piece of shit. That way is I'm like nah, I'm not watching this again. I watched it 4 times
Yeah.
consecutively. I've
That's
watched it enough.
You don't have the history hook in that I have. Like I'm just fascinated by history. So like the fact that these are like they're weaving historical characters into this fictional show is awesome.
Hmm.
But I agree. Like I did like the plots of season 5 and 6. And granted, I haven't watched it as many times as you, but the plots of seasons 5 and 6, just like it just kind of started to feel repetitive and like it's just like different formula and like I don't know. It just felt like you didn't have you're really trying to juice it when there's not a lot of juice left. You should have wrapped it up after 4.
I think you might be right. I think you end up with a lot of scenes that kind of look like, well, Mr. Shelby, I know all these things about you and your family and your past, and I'll mention something from season 2, and whatever.
Yeah.
And then when that person has said their piece, then Tommy Shelby is like, I did some research too about you, and then he's like, I know that you do stuff and this and that, and there's so many scenes that are like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
True.
but I mean, I would watch. Mhm.
Oh, I love the scenes where Tommy Shelby goes against the main villain. But the best one, you'll never get past the one in season 2 where he meets Alfie Solomon for the first time. I fucking love that scene so much.
Hmm.
He's got the kid outside that's, like he says, there's a kid outside. and I don't remember exactly what it was, but he's holding a grenade. And if I tell him, he's gonna grenade us all to hell.
He's like, you wouldn't think it. He comes from a good family, but he's one of these anarchists, that blew up Wall Street. So obvious, like, Ollie, go outside and shoot the kid in the face from the good family. There's a lot of really good. The writing in that, the dialogue in that is incredible, and it's performed beautifully.
Oh, those two are great.
Um, yeah. Um, that's not their first meeting. That's in episode 6. But yeah, Tom Hardy crushes that. I'm not like I know Tom Hardy. I thought for a while was like a little bit overrated. People go crazy. Oh, it's Tom Hardy. And I'm like, yeah, he's good, but like in that show, he's really good.
He's really fucking. I think Tom Hardy. Okay, so this is my opinion on Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy is really, really good, but when you don't mask him up with like costume and stuff, when you don't put him in a period or you put it, you throw some shit on him, you get distracted by how good looking he is because you don't really want your guy who's that fucking quirky and interesting and jacked to just be like a beautiful man.
Uh,
I think he's too good looking for his own good.
I don't really think of him as like a big beauty queen. I mean, I think he's a good looking man, but I don't think of him as like a super pretty dude. But I guess he is, and I guess you're right. I just, I don't know. When you think a very straightforward thing, I feel like like in Inception, I feel like you could have put a lot of people in there and they would have done the job just as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
But like when you
He's
give
not
him something that's, huh?
he's not who you think of when you think of Inception.
That's right. That's right. I think he was good in it, but
He-
I mean, I thought he was fine in it.
but you think Leo.
Yeah, I think of Leo. I think of Killian. I think of Ken Watanabe and all of that shit. And I think of Ellen, at that time, Ellen Page,
Yeah.
and fucking what's his name, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is kind of he's the number two on my list. It goes Leo, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Um, yeah, then probably Ellen Page, to be honest.
I always think of Dilip Rao because he went to my grad school and he came there and he was there while I was there. And I forget what he would. I don't think he was working. I think he was just passing through. And I was like, oh my God, it's one of the guys from Inception, a guy that I had never heard of before, but we went to the same school. He's very cool. Um,
What role did he play?
he played the chemist when Tom Hardy is like, do you have a chemist? He's the chemist.
Oh, okay. All right.
But like when Tom Hardy did something that's a little bit more, I don't know, he's like a good character actor.
He's a great character actor.
And I appreciate, like, I wasn't, like a lot of people, I wasn't super crazy about the third Dark Knight film,
Yeah.
but, because I think at the end of the day, once the whole entire thing was assembled, his character was a little, it's just easily lampooned, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
I sound like liquid through an echo chamber.
Oh,
But you saw the interview, or have we talked about the interview where he talks about where his inspiration came from for that?
tell me.
He said in some interview that he talked to Christopher Nolan and he was like, well, we could go one of two ways. We could go for a sort of a Darth Vader thing, or we could kind of try to do something that's interesting in a different way.
Mhm.
And he had heard recordings of some old timey fighter, like some pugilist, some old school boxer,
Mm.
who was like, "Well, when I get in the ring with someone, I think he's there to take me off of the face of the earth." And he really liked that as a starting point. And when he describes it that way, you can sort of see it in the character. But
Uh-huh.
without that context, you just go to see the film and you're like, this just seems very weird and sort of arbitrary, and I can't understand what he's saying. I'm gonna time
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it does feel like they were just trying to create an iconic Darth Vader voice. And they did, but it kind of, instead of it being something that is loved, it is something that is mocked.
yeah.
Uh,
I think they came close on that, but I think ultimately, I don't know.
I agree. I think they came pretty close, but it didn't quite land. I mean, it was going to be really hard to land, you know, to like meet up with the expectations of Heath Ledger's Joker. So, like, that's also,
Right.
I think we have to view that Bane character in the context of, I think we have to view everything in that series in the context of Heath Ledger's Joker, in my opinion.
And I agree with that. And I also think that it was a mistake. I think that what they should have done, I think it would have been way more interesting and potentially way more effective if they really went in a very different direction because ultimately that character Bane in that film, he kind of did the same things as the Joker. He's like, I'm gonna challenge your ideas about what society is and should be.
Yeah.
I'm an anarchist and I'm gonna blow up a bunch of bombs.
Right, exactly.
It's like they kind of tried to do the same thing again, only that character wasn't as interesting and magnetic as the Joker character was.
Who else could they have? What other villain could they have done been that would have been more like it would have given us a little more diversity?
I mean, first of all, I think they could have done that villain, but just not have him be another villain who you don't, who's mysterious and comes out of the shadows and starts blowing up things. I
Well, I
think
don't know,
if,
probably part of his like comic book backstory because they're drawing from actual IP here. So I imagine Bane back like in the comic books. I mean, I assume he's not just a made up like they didn't just make him up for this movie because you know Catwoman is very obviously well trodden territory and oh I just lost my train.
I also think that she was kind of underwritten and sort of by the way, and the relationship between her and Batman, I feel like that could have been more.
I,
The Catwoman thing is supposed to be like electric,
yeah,
and really, I feel like they touched on. I feel like Tim Burton sort of touched on that.
yeah.
I feel like they did it pretty well in the animated series, and I don't want to be one of these guys who's like, well, the animated series, but fucking the animated series was amazing.
Yeah. No, I like that assertion. I think like that's a really interesting movie. What if they had made Catwoman the primary foil for Batman slash Bruce Wayne, and Bane is kind of just the secondary plot. That would have been
Well,
fucking interesting as hell.
well, I think people would have been unsatisfied with that because I think Bane in the comics, and I don't read the comics, but my understanding is that Bane is like a really substantial arch nemesis of Batman. So I think he wants to be center stage as the villain. I just think the execution of it in that film was a little. They made some they made some choices that weren't necessarily the strongest.
Yeah, you're right. And
Um,
I also think Bane in the Tim Burton ones. Bane was in the Tim Burton ones, right?
Not a film directed by Tim Burton.
But in
He
that
was Well, he was in one of the Joel Schumacher ones,
Bill,
which are notorious, which are famous for just being very not good.
yeah, yeah,
And he was turned into some mindless.
he's
Uh,
yeah, he was like
but
Poison Ivy's little fucking toy, right? And
yeah,
it was in
yeah,
Poison Ivy.
yeah, that's right. But I think so listen, they base things on the comics and then they take certain liberties. I think even the ones that stay very true to the comics, even the MCU ones that stay very true to the comics, when you make a film, you take certain liberties. I think maybe I don't know if Bane was an anarchist and blew shit up in the comic books. I mean, and there's probably different like series and different there are different series of comic books where these characters will appear and have different storylines. But if you're going to take certain liberties, I feel like take the liberties, make choices that'll make it. Don't do almost the same thing you did with Heath Ledger's Joker, except have him be not, I don't know.
Yeah,
It just seemed too similar and just not as effective.
well, the thing with Bane, it's like you can't turn him into like a corporate enemy. He's a big muscled guy that drops bombs. That's the thing about Bane. Like he's not gonna be like at the top of the fucking, like what is he, Agent Bane, like, connected to the Chinese mafia or whatever. Like he's got to be a bit of an anarchist, just with the concept of how he exists in the world.
Right, right.
My wife is coming home, by the way, so um, we should probably wrap it up here in a moment.
All right, very good.
But that was a fun discussion on the villains. I think that we next time what we should do is we should rewrite um, Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, featuring the romance story.
I like the cut of your jib.
All right, should we toast out?
Here's to fighting, drinking, and stealing. If you fight, que la fuerza te acompañe.
If you steal, it's not about the whiskey.
And if you drink, remember Sammy Jenkins.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Thank you.